The courtroom fell silent as my in-laws made their grand entrance. Eleanor and Richard Harrison, dressed in expensive mourning clothes 3 months after their son's death, swept down the aisle like royalty coming to claim their throne. "Keep your head up," my lawyer whispered. "Remember what James wanted." I nodded, squeezing my 8-year-old daughter Lisa's hand. She looked so much like her father, same dark curls, same determined chin. The chin she'd inherited from the Harrisons, though they'd probably deny it now. "All rise," the bailiff called as Judge Martinez entered the courtroom. Eleanor shot me a smug look as we stood. She'd spent the last 3 months telling anyone who would listen that I was an unfit mother, that I couldn't be trusted with James's fortune, that the money should go to them to properly manage for their granddaughter. "Case number 2025 CV 1842, the clerk announced. Harrison versus Montgomery, regarding the trust fund of minor child Lisa Harrison. I watched as Richard and Eleanor's lawyer approached the bench. Howard Pierce III, the kind of attorney who probably charged more for an hour than I used to make in a month as a kindergarten teacher. "Your Honor," Pierce began, his voice dripping with practiced concern, "this is a simple matter of protecting a child's inheritance from potentially unwise management." My lawyer, Sarah Chin, stood up. "Objection, Your Honor. Counsel is attempting to prejudice the court with unfounded implications about my client's financial capability." "Sustained," Judge Martinez said. "Mr. Pierce, stick to the facts." Pierce smoothed his tie. "The facts, Your Honor, are these. James Harrison left his daughter a trust fund worth approximately $12 million. The child's grandparents, my clients, believe this fortune should be managed by the Harrison Family Trust, not by—" He paused dramatically, "a kindergarten teacher." I felt Lisa's hand tighten in mine. She might be only 8, but she understood what was happening. Her beloved grandparents were trying to take away not just her inheritance, but her connection to her father. "Ms. Chun," the judge prompted. Sarah stood, her simple suit a stark contrast to Pierce's bespoke ensemble. "Your Honor, this case isn't about Mrs. Montgomery's profession. It's about a father's clear wishes for his daughter's future, and about a grieving family trying to maintain control through financial manipulation." Eleanor made a small sound of outrage. I didn't turn around, but I could picture her perfect makeup, her carefully styled gray hair, her expression of wounded dignity. "The will is quite clear," Sarah continued. "James Harrison left the trust fund to his daughter, with his wife, my client, as sole trustee until Lisa turns 25. "The will was written under duress," Pierce countered. "Mr. Harrison was already ill when—" "Objection." Sarah's voice cracked like a whip. "The will was properly witnessed and notarized 6 months before Mr. Harrison's diagnosis. We have the medical records to prove it." Judge Martinez nodded. "Objection sustained. Mr. Pierce, do you have any evidence of duress beyond your client's assertions?" "Your Honor, the Harrisons simply want to protect their family legacy. Mrs. Montgomery has no experience managing this kind of wealth. She's already made questionable decisions." "Like what?" I couldn't help asking, speaking for the first time. "Like refusing to let you audit my personal bank accounts? Like saying no when you demanded I move Lisa to the private school you chose? Like daring to keep my job because I want my daughter to understand the value of work?" "Mrs. Montgomery," the judge warned, "please speak through your counsel." "Sorry, Your Honor. But I wasn't sorry. Not really. Not after 3 months of the Harrisons trying to bully me into submission, using their money and influence to try to control me and Lisa." "Perhaps," Pierce suggested smoothly, "we should discuss Mrs. Montgomery's recent purchase of a new home. Hardly the action of someone thinking about their child's financial future." I felt my face flush. The house had been James's idea, his last gift to us. He'd helped me choose it during his final weeks, insisted on using some of his personal money, not the trust fund, to buy it outright. "The house purchase is irrelevant," Sarah stated. "It was made with funds specifically designated by Mr. Harrison for that purpose, completely separate from the trust." "But it demonstrates a pattern," Pierce pressed. "A pattern of unnecessary expenditure that—" "Your Honor," Sarah interrupted, "I think it's time we address the elephant in the room. Or rather, the clause in Mr. Harrison's will that his parents seem determined to ignore." Eleanor shifted in her seat. I felt a small smile tugging at my lips. Here it came, the reason I'd stayed calm through all their accusations and manipulations. "What clause?" Judge Martinez asked. Sarah pulled out a document. "Section 7, paragraph 3 of James Harrison's will. The one his parents' lawyers apparently didn't read carefully enough. Pierce frowned. We've reviewed the will thoroughly. There's nothing. In the event that any member of my family contests these arrangements, Sarah read clearly, or attempts to interfere with my wife's guardianship of our daughter and management of her trust fund, a secondary provision shall be activated. The courtroom fell silent. Even Lisa sat up straighter, though she'd heard this part before. Secondary provision? The judge prompted. Yes, Your Honor. Sarah handed the document to the clerk. One that Mr. Harrison added after watching his parents try to control his own inheritance when he was younger. One that he specifically designed to prevent exactly this kind of power play. I finally turned to look at Eleanor and Richard. Their faces had gone pale, their perfect composure cracking just slightly. What kind of provision? Pierce demanded. Sarah smiled. Perhaps we should let Mr. Harrison explain himself. Your Honor, we have video testimony from James Harrison, recorded the same day he signed his will, explaining exactly what happens if his parents tried to seize control of Lisa's inheritance. As the bailiff set up the video equipment, I remembered the day James had recorded that message. He'd been so determined, so sure his parents would try something like this after he was gone. They've always used money as a weapon, he'd told me. But not this time. This time, I'm going to make sure they learn their lesson. The screen flickered to life, showing James sitting in his office, healthy and strong, his eyes blazing with purpose. Eleanor gasped. Richard grabbed her hand. And my late husband began to speak, about to reveal the surprise he'd planned specifically for this moment. James's face filled the courtroom screen, and suddenly it was like he was there with us again, strong, determined, alive. If you're watching this, he began, it means my parents have done exactly what I warned them not to do. They've tried to use money to control my family, just like they tried to control me. Eleanor made a small choking sound. Richard's face had turned to stone. Mom, Dad, James continued, looking directly into the camera, I love you. But your obsession with controlling the family fortune has hurt people. It hurt me when I was younger. It hurt Catherine when I married her. And now you're trying to hurt my daughter. Lisa squeezed my hand tighter. On screen, James leaned forward. So here's what happens now. The secondary provision in my will is simple. If you contest Catherine's control of Lisa's trust fund, or try to interfere with her guardianship in any way, the entire trust, all $12 million, will be immediately transferred to the Harrison Family Foundation. Pierce jumped to his feet. Your Honor, this is... I'm not finished, James's recording cut him off. The Harrison Family Foundation, which as my parents know, was established by my grandfather to support education for underprivileged children. The same foundation they've been trying to shut down for years because it wastes family money on scholarships. I watched Eleanor's perfect composure crumble as James continued. But here's the real twist. Along with the money, I'm transferring controlling interest in the foundation to its current executive director. James smiled. Who happens to be my wife, Catherine. The courtroom erupted in chaos. Pierce was shouting about undue influence. Eleanor had burst into tears, and Richard looked like he might have a stroke. Order. Judge Martinez banged her gavel. Mr. Pierce, sit down and let the recording finish. On screen, James was still speaking. Catherine has been running the foundation for the past 3 years, though my parents never bothered to find out. They were too busy looking down on her for being a kindergarten teacher to realize she has an MBA in nonprofit management. I felt a small smile tugging at my lips, remembering how James had encouraged me to take the role. They'll never see it coming, he'd said. So here's your choice, James continued. You can accept Catherine's management of Lisa's trust fund, respect her decisions as our daughter's mother, and maintain the current arrangement. Or you can fight it, and watch the entire inheritance go to supporting scholarships for the kind of students you've spent years trying to keep out of our social circle. Eleanor was openly sobbing now. Richard had his head in his hands. And one more thing, James added. If you choose to fight and lose the money to the foundation, you should know that Catherine has full discretion over the scholarship program, including the power to name the scholarships after anyone she chooses. I pulled out my phone, showing the mock-up I'd had designed months ago. The Eleanor and Richard Harrison Scholarship for first-generation college students. Richard's face went from red to purple. The choice is yours, James concluded. But remember, this time, you're not just fighting Catherine. You're fighting me. And I learned all my best moves from watching you. The screen went dark. Judge Martinez cleared her throat. Well, that was illuminating. Mr. Pierce, do your clients wish to proceed with their petition? Pierce turned to the Harrisons, who were huddled together whispering frantically. After a moment, he stood. "Your Honor, in light of this new information, my clients would like to request a brief recess to confer." "No." Eleanor's voice cut through the courtroom. She stood up, smoothing her designer dress. "No more delays. No more fighting." She walked to where Lisa and I were sitting, her Louboutin heels clicking on the courtroom floor. "Catherine," she said softly, "I owe you an apology. Several apologies, actually." "Mom," Richard protested, but she silenced him with a look. "James clearly trusted you, with his daughter, with his money, even with his father's foundation. We should have trusted his judgment." She knelt down to Lisa's level. "And we should have trusted the woman who raised such an amazing granddaughter." Lisa studied her grandmother's face carefully. "Does this mean you'll stop being mean to Mom?" Eleanor flinched. "Yes, sweetheart. It does." "Then I forgive you," Lisa said simply. "That's what Dad would want." I watched as tears filled Eleanor's eyes. Real tears this time, not the calculated ones from earlier. "Your Honor," Pierce said, "my clients wish to withdraw their petition. Completely and permanently." Judge Martinez nodded. "Petition dismissed. Mrs. Montgomery retains full trustee rights as specified in the original will." She smiled slightly. "Though I would very much like to hear more about this foundation." 1 month later, I sat in my office at the Harrison Family Foundation, reviewing scholarship applications. Eleanor and Richard had not only withdrawn their court challenge, but had also donated an additional $3 million to the foundation's endowment. "Consider it an apology," Eleanor had said. "And perhaps a new beginning?" Lisa was spending weekends with her grandparents now, teaching them about her favorite video games and introducing them to her diverse group of school friends. Slowly, reluctantly, they were learning that their social circle could expand beyond country club memberships and trust fund babies. Yesterday, Eleanor even attended our scholarship awards ceremony, presenting grants to students who would be the first in their families to attend college. She'd stumbled a bit over some of the names, but her smile had been genuine when the students hugged her. "James would be proud," she'd said afterward. "Of all of us." I looked at his picture on my desk, not the formal portrait the Harrisons preferred, but a candid shot of him playing with Lisa in our backyard. "He knew exactly what he was doing," I murmured. "Setting up the foundation, preparing the video, arranging everything so his parents would have to choose between their money and their prejudices." My phone buzzed with a text from Eleanor. "Dinner tonight? Lisa wants to show us her science project. Richard promises not to mention trust funds or private schools." I smiled as I typed back. "We'll be there." Lisa's bringing her friend Maria, the one whose mom just got a Harrison Foundation scholarship. After a moment, Eleanor replied, "Perfect. I'll set an extra place. And Catherine, thank you for not giving up on us." I looked at the scholarship applications on my desk, then at the photo of James and Lisa. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about giving others the chance to change. And sometimes the most valuable inheritance isn't money at all. It's the wisdom to know how to use it to make the world a little better, one scholarship at a time. James had known that all along. He just needed to help his parents learn it too. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.